Emily had always been fascinated by mirrors. As a child, she spent hours staring at her reflection, imagining the person staring back at her was someone entirely different. But as she grew older, her fascination began to turn to fear. One day, while cleaning her grandmother's attic, Emily came across an antique mirror that had been hidden away in a dusty old corner. The mirror was ornately carved with intricate designs, and it seemed to emanate a strange and otherworldly energy. As she gazed into the mirror, Emily felt as though she was being watched. She saw a shadowy figure lurking just beyond her reflection, and she could feel its malevolent gaze upon her. Over the next few days, strange things began to happen around the house. Emily heard whispers in the shadows, and objects seemed to move of their own accord. She knew that something was wrong, but she couldn't quite put her finger on it. One night, as she was getting ready for bed, Emily caught a glimpse of the shadowy figure again, this time reflected in the mirror. It was a dark and twisted version of herself, with glowing red eyes and a wicked grin. Terrified, Emily tried to leave the room, but the figure seemed to follow her wherever she went. She could feel its icy breath on the back of her neck, and she knew that it was drawing closer with each passing moment. As the days turned into weeks, Emily found herself losing touch with reality. She could no longer tell the difference between the real world and the twisted realm of the mirror. The shadowy figure had consumed her, and she was trapped within its malevolent grasp. Desperate for a way out, Emily sought out the help of a local psychic, who told her of the mirror's dark and cursed past. It had been used by a powerful sorcerer to trap the souls of the innocent, and its malevolent energy had lingered on for centuries. The psychic warned Emily that she must act quickly or she would be lost forever to the shadow in the mirror. Emily was determined to break free from the mirror's grasp, and she followed the psychic's instructions to the letter. She gathered together a selection of rare herbs and crystals, and began to perform a ritual to banish the shadow from the mirror. As she chanted the incantations, the mirror began to tremble and shake, and Emily could feel the shadow's malevolent energy growing weaker. But just as Emily thought she had succeeded, the shadowy figure emerged from the mirror in a burst of dark energy. It was more powerful than ever before, and it seemed to be determined to consume Emily entirely. Emily could feel her strength waning as the shadow drew closer, its wicked grin filling her mind with terror. She knew that she had to act quickly or she would be lost forever to the shadow in the mirror. Summoning all of her strength, Emily reached out and grasped the shadowy figure, pulling it towards her with all her might. She could feel the dark energy coursing through her veins, but she refused to give up. With one final burst of energy, Emily managed to banish the shadow back into the mirror, trapping it there for eternity. As Emily collapsed to the floor exhausted and relieved, she knew that she had been lucky to escape with her life. The shadow in the mirror had almost consumed her entirely, leaving her lost in a twisted realm of darkness and despair. But she had managed to break free, and she knew that she would never look at mirrors in the same way again. Years later, as she looked back on the events that had transpired, Emily knew that she had been forever changed by her encounter with the shadow in the mirror. She had been forced to confront the darkest aspects of herself, and she had emerged stronger for it. Years later, as she looked back on the events that had transpired, Emily knew that she had been forever changed by her encounter with the shadow in the mirror. She had been forced to confront the darkest aspects of her own psyche, and to overcome her fears in order to banish the shadow for good. But the memory of the experience lingered with her, haunting her dreams and causing her to question the nature of reality itself. Despite her fears, Emily could not resist the allure of mirrors, and she continued to be fascinated by their reflections. But she knew that she could never let her guard down again, and that she must always be vigilant against the darkness that lurked within. As the years went by, Emily continued to explore the mysteries of the universe, seeking out answers to the questions that had haunted her since her encounter with the shadow in the mirror. And though she never forgot the terror of that experience, she knew that it had given her a strength and resilience that would serve her well in the years to come. For Emily, the shadow in the mirror had been a catalyst for change, forcing her to confront her own fears and to embrace the unknown. And though she had been forever altered by the experience, she knew that she had emerged from the darkness stronger and more determined than ever before.